not gonna make it. Sandy.
Sandy's right here.
Oh, there she is.
Coming in the back door.
There was no parking.
Hey, bud. Good. What are you doing? Nothing too new.
We got a complaint from DPW. It smells funny in here and it's cold.
Oh, does he?
It didn't make it smell.
Smells like pine salt.
Smells like, I thought it was a kitchen smell. I was told not to touch it.
I just got a message that your streaming is now working.
I just turned it on.
Oh, you just turned that? Okay.
I like it that way.
Tell me now. Just
Okay.
turned it on. And everybody has the minutes, so we should be able to approve them without a problem. We didn't make copies again.
Are the minutes here, or is it, we've
We
all.
already had them. They're in everybody's box.
Box, right.
You took them the other day.
Yeah, I took them the other day, right?
And believe it or not, I delivered Greg.
Doing some staging.
Okay, everybody have a seat there. I wanna call the Alex Bay regular meeting October 8th to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you doing this?
I'm just making notes like I usually do.
Oh, okay.
The roll call. Let me go.
Oh, sure. Trustee Fulmer.
Here.
Trustee Miller is absent. Trustee Stroud.
Here.
Trustee Caputo's here, and Mayor Putnam.
Here. Okay, let's open her up for public comments. Are there any public comments out there? Anybody like to? Yes, sir.
I got a couple parking concerns.
Okay,
One of them is on Bolton Ave. Supposed to be parking on one side of the street. If you come up from the arch, there's two no parking signs this side of the street, down by Mr. Drake's and the next house. There are no signs till you get to the school. There is one open Airbnb right now, which is 16 Bolton. And this weekend, those people were parking right on the street, on the wrong side, in front of their place, and I kept telling them, you can't park. I said, there's a sign. Well, no, I see the sign way down there, but that's no parking this side for the school. I said, no parking on this side. So I'd like to see, if you go down Anthony Street, there's a no parking sign every other driveway. There's a no parking sign this side. So I think we should have
more no parking signs?
signs over there. The other parking concern is on Church Street. There are certain spots you're not supposed to park on Church Street. Well, some people just like to drive over the curb onto their lawn and park. That makes our town, our village look real shabby, you know. Park whatever we want, wherever we want.
I know. Jared, do we have more no parking
Yes.
signs?
I'll-
Can we put some
I'll
down
address
through
that.
there for him?
I'll
On Bolton?
address that.
We'll take care of Bolton and we'll
I think there
talk.
should be something that if you open up an Airbnb and you are on a street that has parking on one side only, you should put a sign in front of that place, because these people that rent them, they don't care.
Where's 16 Bolton? Which
That
house
would
is,
be, Charlie's place, then the old Senecal place.
right?
The old
and that is the
Senecal,
one there.
the old Senecal place is an Airbnb.
Okay,
And then, Mr. Waltz passed away, but his
the next,
nephew, I think, is living there now. But the house after that, I heard that, whoever is gonna buy that can turn that into an Airbnb also.
They are.
yep.
Are they?
Yeah, I know, 'cause I sold it to them. Yep. It's gonna be an
There
Airbnb.
will be no parking sign there. They'll.
Yeah. There used to be one there, to be honest with you.
Oh, was it?
Right in front of that house right there, there was a no, years ago, there was a no parking sign there, 'cause I know, 'cause we had the house for a long time there, and there isn't one there now, though.
What we'll do, Ted, is Jared will put some no parking signs down through there, and we'll try to have Josh make sure that they check it.
Especially if they're parking, if there's a function down at the arena. It's like, because we had that one accident, Bill, I forgot his last name, right next door neighbor of Mr. Kavanaugh's. He got plowed to the back of his car. That's because they couldn't go on the other side of the street, because apparently there was a car there.
Craig's got a question.
Well, it's just an observation, I wasn't even thinking this when I came in, but you talk about the parking, but I've noticed going down Catherine Avenue, there's a lot of cars parked on the one side, right? And a lot of times you gotta pull over, let somebody go, and go, boy, this is really a lot more congested than I remember. Bolton Avenue may be the same thing. And I said, you know, is there any way of solving that? I was thinking, what if we put a one-way going down and a one-way on Bolton going up? And everybody can park on one side each of those streets. This is an idea, so.
Well, let me tell you, you know why they park on Catherine like that? Because we took the speed bumps out, and the local residents there told me they're parking like this to slow everybody down.
So that's.
That was, that's
They
why,
got- didn't that street have no parking on the one side?
it did, part of the way, same thing, right, Garrett?
Yeah, I thought so.
On your side, that side.
Right.
Well, I just thought that if you did a one-way on both streets, one down and one back, you could have full parking on one side, and everybody, there's none of that cross go back and forth.
You almost have to do Catherine and Cornwall, both ends of it, otherwise the rink parking lot's gonna become as a pass.
But then you're gonna have an issue, if you got a house right there, and you gotta drive all the way around the block to get to your house right there, we're
I'm
gonna
not
hear
saying
complaints
it's,
about
I'm
that.
not saying it's, I'm just saying it's.
I know, I
something to think
understand.
about.
I
I
understand.
didn't think it through, I just have to think about it.
Okay, any other public comments that I would like to make? Okay, I guess we'll close that part of it. Correspondence, we have any correspondence? We had, I don't really see any correspondence.
The only thing you do have in there is, more under the police department, you have, I think, 15
Right,
copies of either a courtesy ticket or letters from people saying thank you for the courtesy ticket over the summer and not a hefty fine, and we get anywhere from $2 to $10 from people when they forget to put their quarters in or miss it, so those are in there.
that was the only thing that I had.
That's the only thing.
I was gonna give it with the police report, but that's fine, no. Okay, the minutes from the last, what, we got 3 minutes that we didn't approve, or 2?
Just one, minutes from September 10th, 2024.
No, the one before that wasn't approved either,
Which one, August or the
August.
fire district?
both. Let me get the date.
I think there was 2 that we didn't.
So September 10th is on there, and then
I
we
wasn't
had
here the last time.
August 13th needs to be approved, and the joint fire district one, which, that's August 29th.
Yep.
Those 3 need to be approved.
Everybody, did you look out? Everybody look, motion over?
I'll make a motion to approve, minutes from 8/13 board meeting, the joint fire district meeting on August 29th, and September 10th board meeting.
The second,
I'll second it.
all approved?
Aye.
All right.
Did everybody get a chance to look at the bills that were for this month?
I
I've
went through
seen-
them last week and did half of them. I didn't get there tonight, I was in 2 other meetings.
Did you look at them, Doug?
Well, shortly I did, yeah, everything was good, I mean, as far as the golf course goes.
Okay, do we want a motion to, oh,
What you're approving, we did, for the last 3 weeks, you've had them at the end of every week, so what is in there today
it's just,
is just from last week
okay,
for the month. And,
Yep.
I mean, and you did look at those, so I would make a motion to approve them.
I need a second,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lee, you wanna go with your report so you can go?
Okay. Last Monday, I went to a FEMA meeting on floodplain maps. They've been working on this thing for about 4 years, and they're still not done. The biggest change is now the map's gonna be digitalized, so we'll be able to follow the shoreline much more specifically. Before, it was just a general line through there. As it stands right now, again, remind you, this is just in draft form, there are gonna be 7 fewer parcels in the village that are in the floodplain. And some of it's due to the mapping. In some areas, the mapping has increased floodplain, other places they've retracted with it. That's one nice thing about being digitalized, it really pinpoints, where the floodplain is for people that need floodplain insurance, so. But again, I remind you, this is only in draft form, so it's gonna be another couple of years yet, probably, before they get it all finalized with it.
So run that by me about the 7 parcels again?
There are currently, with the draft as it's been presented, there are 7 parcels now that are no longer in the floodplain.
Okay. No longer in the flood.
No longer.
Okay.
We've had 14 since they did the first report, 4 years ago. There's been 14 new structures identified in there, but some of them aren't even in the floodplain. So we have a net of -7 for the village. There's still 67 parcels in the floodplain, in the village per se. That doesn't count the town.
What was the area?
They raised it a
of
foot though,
The
didn't
village itself,
Yeah, but
the
what,
court.
what 7, like,
they didn't identify them.
Oh.
But
Or
they-
not yet.
But they raised it a foot though, didn't they, the floodplain?
It varies, you know, some places it's 6 inches. Overall, there's not a lot of change in the St. Lawrence River Valley, you know, up through. Some places and some creeks and stuff, really, up in Swan Bay, that area up in there's a bunch of that has increased in the floodplain, but also there's a bunch that has been retracted out of it. And, you know, they may change it again before they get the draft form with it, so. And I guess, if there's another question, the only other thing I have, I'm ready to serve papers, on a business, and I'd like permission from the trustees to hire a server to do it. I don't serve papers. With my experience with people with drugs and guns and stuff, we've hired, in Orleans, we've always hired someone to serve them.
Do you have
$50 to serve it.
Do you have somebody in mind?
There's a company in Watertown that I use, George Associates or something, that's their primary business.
I don't have, do we need a motion for that, or can we just approve?
It's a motion to give me authorization.
I'll make the motion to authorize you to have somebody serve it.
Do we have a second on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're good, Lee.
That's all I have, unless there's some questions.
And good. Well, good, thank you.
Okay.
So let's see, do we want, I'll read the police report here, well, I got it right handy. I did have. Oh, well, I'm looking for it, Doug, why don't you give us let's get an update on the golf course?
Okay, you've got the golf course, the boys have been up there, they've been top dressing all the tees. They plugged a lot of the fairways, they plugged the greens. They've had a prisoner in there, one of the prisoners they had, Bruce did, and they've been cutting a lot of the brush up around the tennis courts and stuff like that. And Rod is gonna be gone for 2 weeks. He's leaving, Friday's his last day, and he's gonna be gone for a couple of weeks, so Bruce is gonna be a little short-handed for a couple of weeks. He's going to a wedding somewhere in Tennessee or something. And we got a speed roller up there. They put it out for bid, Bruce told me a couple of years ago, and tried to get rid of it. It's a little, it ain't much to it, it's just a little gadget with some rollers on it. And they tried to sell it, they didn't, and no one bid on it. And what Bruce would like to do is give that to Hunter for a trade, for Hunter to come in and do some spraying on the golf course for us for $1,500. And we'll take it out and trade. We'll give him the speed roller, we'll let him do the spraying, and he'll spray for us, and we'll be even up on it. We got some areas up there that need to get sprayed, and it wouldn't cost us nothing. Like I say, they don't use it, it's been sitting there, it's a 2002, if I'm not mistaken, the year of it. And they don't use it, it's been sitting in the back of the barn there, and they put it out for bid a couple of years ago, and no one even bid on it. So, we'd like to trade that off.
If I may interject, Doug, I believe maybe 2 months ago, I think the village board had already discussed, and you guys okayed, because nobody had bid on it, and I may be wrong.
Yeah, that's what Bruce said something about it, but I didn't hear nothing about it, you know what I mean? So I
think you guys already had discussed.
they tried to bid it out, and no one bid on it. And
So allowing Hunter Horton to do the trade?
Yeah, already for some other work, I believe you guys had already.
yes, I didn't know anything about it, Bruce mentioned it to me.
Well, if we're not using it, we can't get rid of it, I'd trade the court for that.
So would I. I mean, you know, we'll get the spraying done, you know what I mean? We'll get, well, like Bruce said, he ain't gonna spray it all, but he's got some bad areas we'd like to get taken care of,
And we
and
got
it's not gonna cost us nothing, and no, they don't use it, it's been sitting in the corner there for years, and it'd be a good trade. I mean, you know, we just gotta approve it, and I'll let Bruce know.
So are you making that
You
motion?
making that
Yeah,
motion?
I'm making that motion to trade it for the spraying.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, phone the police report here. I'll read this real quick. Police department had 9 complaints, 1 arrest, 0 tickets issued, and 1 warning, 0 parking tickets, and 0 warning, and 3 building checks. Besides the letters we got that Judy had already mentioned about people donating money or for the courtesy tickets. They got quite a few responses there, you know. That's about it for that. Jarrett, you wanna do your report?
Sure. Right off the bat, I'd like to see if the village, I think I'm gonna have to have a motion on this to surplus the sweeper and, the Ford Explorer, the other, cop car that was no longer in service, to allow Auctions International to come in and auction off those 2, pieces of equipment. I think we have to surplus them first before we can do that, right?
Yeah, motion to unwanted, unneeded surplus equipment.
So, if the village would be willing to do that,
The old sweeper,
the old sweeper.
just taking up space, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other cop car that is no longer in use.
What year is that car?
I think that's a 15, Ford Explorer, is what that one is. They just used it not too long ago, and it's still runnable, and it's, so hopefully it'll bring us some good money.
Can I
We
make that
all-
motion before we keep going?
Okay,
I'll make the motion to, put the old street sweeper and 2015 cop car on auction at International bid surplus.
thank you.
Second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get rid of it.
So all of our sand is hauled, we hauled 400 tons of sand in. We have 200 tons of salt stored up in Collins Landing. I have another 100 in holding in the port for future use. You have to, have it on hold. The leafer is all ready and set to go, with the boxes on, the leafer's out. Our big plow truck is put together. Of course, everybody knows that a lot of times we take our kids, trick or treating with snow on the ground, so here we are again. We had a little water leak at the chamber building. We dug on that and fixed that water leak. Water's off at the cemeteries, got them shut down for the season. We've had 2 hydrants in the past couple of weeks get hit. One was up here to the school. It spun it around about 3/4 of a turn. There was a police report done on that one. I have all this information and pictures. In case there is damage as it stands right now, we just have to twist it back around on top. The other one, we believe we have enough parts that we can, they sheared it off at the top. So we're gonna take a look at that, I believe, Monday. We're gonna take the other one apart we have down the barn and see if we have enough parts. I'd like to remind everybody that, we're gonna start leafing, but please, remember not to put the brush in with the leaves, cause our leafer, it takes the guys a long time to peel the brush out of the leaves before we can suck them up. Mowing and cleaning of the river walk has been going on. Dougie, we hauled the topsoil and the cushion sand to the golf course. As you said, cleaning around the golf course, up by the tennis court that started, there was a little issue up, we couldn't get the guys released until Thursday. There was a little issue up there, it was only 1 guy, but we should get another 5 days from him, so honestly, he said it'll turn out better that we got 8 days instead of the 5.
Yep.
So I've been working with National Grid on some trees up on, Anthony Street Extension. It's been a long process. There's about 4 of them big cottonwoods up there that need to come down. They actually gave in, and Nelson is gonna come in and drop them, if we get rid of them. That's great.
I agree.
So, they'll be in, they're marked, they're gonna be brought down.
Going into Bonnie Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not, they should come down.
Yeah, so, I met with Nelson's Tree Service, and they're gonna hit a couple more trees. One on, Mance's Lane, there's an elm that they're gonna take down, so if you see the red spray paint on trees, that was Nelson. And then me and Richard, about a week ago, went around first thing in the morning, and we addressed some other trees, that need to come down or trimmed at the top. And, I believe if not the beginning of next week, it might be towards the latter end of it that week, but he should be in here, going through the village and get some of the dead stuff out of the top of the maples and stuff.
Okay.
I think that's it. I will address the no parking signs on, Bolton Ave and see what I can do on Church Street too, so.
I got another question for you. Talking about leasing, I know in years past, everybody would just blow them out in the street, and then you had to pick them up. Was there a change in that for
They should be able
coming
to.
year? Do we need to put them in bags?
No, you can still, it's just at later end of the year when the leafer gets taken off, and it's late after the frost or something, then the leafer is off, then I would like to have them in bags. But as long as the leafer is on, then.
So you don't mind if I
No.
use, my lawnmower, mulch them up, put them all in a bag, and
No, that's fine.
put them out there, and it was less of a mess in front of my house.
No, that's fine.
Actually, I'd like to follow up on that too, because I sweep the yard, grass and leaves, you use the big vacuum thing,
Yeah.
right? So it shouldn't much matter.
No.
I don't know how often that's done. How often do they go through up on, St. Lawrence Ave area?
Well, we'd like to start off where we left previously, so we don't start in the same spot, so it's just how.
So there is a table of some kind of
Yeah.
pattern?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Do you wanna bring up the stuff on the fire district? Kinda?
We had our joint meeting for the fire district on August 28th. Both the town and the village approved, dissolving the fire department and forming a joint. Actually, the dissolution won't happen until the 30-day referendum period is up, but we agreed to join a joint fire district. We named our commissioners, that are just, it's not official, October 26th, it's a Saturday, is the end of the 30-day referendum period, and then that Tuesday, as of right now, that Tuesday, we're gonna do the swearing in, so if anybody wants to be here to see the swearing in of the commissioners, they'll have their first official meeting, which I believe they're gonna try to set the budget in place that day. They've already been unofficially working, with us, getting ready for this next step, but it looks like we're well on our way, and I'm excited. Does anybody not know who the commissioners are? Have you not read it in the paper? So we have Court Rutherford is the chairman, is that what they call him? The chairman. Shuki Millet, those are the two from the village. The three from the town that were appointed was, Jameson Wills, Dave Johnson, and the other one's name? George Donovan, there you go. So those are the five.
Is it an administrative and financial consolidation? I guess I don't understand how it affects, like, the equipment,
So, right now, the town owns the equipment, I retract that, the village owns the equipment. But the reality is, and why a lot of villages are getting out of the fire department business, is because when we sit here and have a meeting like this, the fire department doesn't get enough time, and quite honestly, none of us are SMEs on fire departments. So we, in my opinion, weren't giving them a good, fair deal of what they wanted.
Sure.
Where now, this board of commissioners, they have to go to school to oversee that fire department. There's very strict regulations, and they're almost like their own little municipality, but it's only for the fire district. They set their own budget. It's completely open to the public. You're welcome to go at any time. We vote in, not we as the board members, but we as all of us. If you pay attention to public notices and stuff, you all have the right to go to your district meetings. Usually it's the second Tuesday in December is common, but whatever date they pick. And so the first year, the commissioners were appointed by the two boards. And a year from now, they will run, or someone else can run to be a commissioner. And you go in and you vote, and whoever is the highest vote earner, they get a 5-year term. The next highest gets a 4-year term. So we don't all get to go in and pick 5 commissioners, or 5 commissioners. We all go in with 1 vote and pick who you want, and that's how you get the highest down to the lowest.
So the village and other, villages that are associated with this district, they lease the equipment to the district?
What will happen is, if we own the equipment, we are more than likely going to donate it to them for $1. Then, because it's all been, the majority of it, some of the stuff has been donated by taxpayers, like the new fire truck we're getting, the majority of that was donated by Mr. Fitzsimmons. So a lot of the equipment has been donated and or bought by the taxpayers. So we don't want them to have to go out and buy all new
Sure.
equipment
I was just curious
or pay for it.
if we absorb the maintenance responsibility, you know, with the new district, but it sounds like
No,
not
they will.
necessarily.
So then,
That's good.
there are a few pieces of equipment that there is still short-term, bonds, like less than 5 years. So those pieces of equipment, the new fire district are going to lease from the village and pay for the remaining costs. So they're gonna end up paying it off themselves as soon as a piece of equipment is paid for. We'll give it back to them for $1. That way, the village taxpayers aren't paying twice. We're not gonna keep it in our budget, and then it's gonna go on their budget too. Currently, what the village pays into the fire protection, or fire district for us, there are a few line items in our budget, but on your village taxes, you don't see a separate line item, where anyone who lives outside of the village, they all have a separate line item for fire protection. Redwood has their own district, Plessis has their own district, everybody up and down Route 12, along with Wellesley Island, they have an Alexandria fire protection fee. It's a separate line item on their town taxes, and that's what's gonna happen to the village now. The village and that Alexandria, they've all combined, and now, instead of on your village taxes, a portion of that going to fire protection, it won't be there anymore. You'll just get a separate line item on your town tax in January.
Sharing resources sounds smart to me.
Yeah, and I think we'll see what happens down the road, but I think in upcoming years, 5 to 10 years, you may see that
Yeah.
there'll be one central hub location, and, there might still be a bay here. Redwood may still have a bay, but there is talk about the districts may want to combine. But then it's much easier when you have 2 districts talking rather than a district in a town and a village.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can move forward to help make things better and more safer for all of us as taxpayers and citizens, and better for us as taxpayers. But that's all I've got.
You got anything, Jody, for the fire department or anything?
No, well, the only other thing that's gonna be different is that while they're here, the fire department's or the new fire district is gonna pay rent. And, they're releasing from us, pay certain bills, and so that'll make it easier on the village taxpayer too in the long run.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of it, it's a good move.
Yeah, sounds like it.
All right. Gregor?
Just a couple updates on the drinking water project. We had the progress meeting last Thursday. One of the topics was on the meters. So the contractor, Ty Sales, has received a notice to proceed, and they're actually shipping meters, they said, tomorrow. So everything's gonna be shipped to the village, and they may be on site Friday or early next week at the latest.
That's good.
So that was an update that we didn't have last week. I think we mentioned the MWBE waiver that, has been approved by the funding agency, so there shouldn't be any issues with reimbursement through EFC. Our next progress meeting is scheduled for November 7th, and we've changed the time to 4 p.m. If that works for everyone. No news yet on the community development block grant. There's still anticipation that that's gonna happen sometime this fall, possibly before Election Day. We'll know in the next month if those announcements are made, but definitely should be by the end of the year. That's all really with the water project. Design still continuing on everything we reviewed last week. I had an update on the phone line. I think Jared brought that up, was at the last meeting. For the lift, so Verizon has completed the installation of the phone line to the lift. Now it's up to the lift supplier to complete the connection. And one thing that, for the lift, there's a requirement for a 24-hour contact for the dial-out. So essentially on the lift, if there's an emergency and the lift stops working, there has to be the ability to do a call out, and it goes to a 24-hour, has to be someone that's available 24 hours a day. My suggestion was you currently use stat for security, and that's a 24-hour staffed live phone line. If that works, we can pass that number on to the lift manufacturer, and they can finish the installation.
Down to
We're meeting with them tomorrow at 10 o'clock
the, down to the
at
part,
the lift, yeah,
or the lift.
with stat.
Alright. But there's supposed to be a phone in there, correct, or is it?
It is a phone, but it's only one, it calls out to one number only. So you hit the button and it calls out, and that has to be a 24-hour staffed phone line. Jarrett offered it up to go to his number at first, but I don't think he wants to be on call 24 hours a day.
Especially when the kids are playing with it.
How do you stop the little kids from being?
Yes, Gary.
There's some, people that live in the town of Alexandria have a new, business like Stat. Some of them used to work for Stat.
Oh, okay.
I think we ought to give them a shot too.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Right.
It's called Trust and Security. Cranewood. And they have somebody 24 hours a day if they're in too.
Who is it, Gary?
Catherine Moore.
Okay, I know who it is.
Yeah. A lot of businesses are already changing over to them.
Oh, they have 24-hour call service?
Yep, they have somebody they pay and they sit there. They just do it with another company, and when it lights up, they got all the answers, they know who to call.
Well,
It's no different than,
do we pay for it every month, or?
Yeah, we pay for stat all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doyle
Just
is
get a quote on it?
Yeah, Doyle is stat, they have,
Doyle, I guess.
Doyle staff.
their hub is in
Right.
Rochester, so
I know.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an annual contract at all.
Okay, are you,
I have them at home and it's annual,
just,
so I'll find out when it is.
okay, well, we'll check into it then. All right, I guess we're moving, thanks,
Well,
Greg.
you gotta have an answer to what phone number it's going to,
When
Yes.
when.
Yep.
Well, we're meeting with Doyle tomorrow at 10 o'clock to set it up for now.
Okay.
So we'll let him know. And while Doyle is here, they're gonna look at the camera that's in the, beach end of the pavilion because it's not working. It hasn't been for a couple weeks.
Yeah, maybe we can coordinate, Judy, I think the lift supplier will do the final termination, so whoever you use for that call out may not have to technically do anything. They just
Okay.
have to be aware that they may receive a phone call,
Okay.
Be aware that we set their number up.
that their number is set up as the
No.
call out.
I'll let you know after tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you good? You got everything?
Yeah, that's it. I think the only other thing that came up at the last meeting was the drains. Tim Maloney was on site, was able to get those opened up, so that should be draining properly now.
Okay.
So I think those are the two things, right, Jared, at the last meeting
Yeah.
to check on?
Oh, everything will be fine with it, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
It seemed to be, it was
If
just.
something else, just let me know.
They had run some caulk, the concrete caulk over them, and it was underneath, so we've taken a plate off, and we've gotten actually the holes that were there that were pretty well hidden. But,
Back open.
yeah, they're back open, so.
Okay. That-
Yeah, should be all set unless there's any questions.
You good with everything then? Okay. Old business, do we have any old business? There's nothing
No.
on here. Okay. Craig, you're up.
This July, I got a water bill on back on boathouse 2 and 3 at Bonnie Castle. And I noticed that it was much higher than normal, so, Walt and I went down and we found a leak down there. It's probably a month after the, you know, when they actually read it, I guess, by the time you see it and go down. So, we found a leak and you called the village.
Yes, I had, Pat and Kevin come down just to check the meter. From April 2nd of this year to July 8th, the meter said that we used 479,000 gallons of water. In the same time period, April 2nd to July 9th of last year, we used 131,000 gallons of water. Quite a discrepancy. So they took a reading that day, right there, Pat and Kevin. And in that month period since the reading, it had used 31,000 gallons of water. So they're questioning we're questioning the 479,000 gallons is what we're questioning.
We hadn't fixed the leak yet either.
Yes, it is.
Did you find
we're
it?
not yet.
But at that time, we had not
You
fixed
found
the
the leak, though?
We didn't find one,
Okay.
but that was,
Not of that magnitude.
but that leak was fixed after they made the reading for the month in between, after the last bill. So we were 131,000 gallons the year before versus 479 or something close to that. So we're kind of wondering what could happen.
Well, if you had a leak, you used the water,
Well,
what the village does, tomorrow in the office, we will forgive the sewer fees connected to that. We never forgive the water end.
I'm not, is there a possibility it could not be the leak, because we tested it right after we got the bill within a month. We hadn't done anything to fix it, we didn't have a leak that we were aware of, and we used 31,000 gallons in a month, which is about what we would use in a month, and so it's normal. But that first billing was 500,000 gallons of water,
We can check the,
and we don't have any use of it then. And
what's
I'm
the
just-
address of that, do you know? Cause we can check and see if,
I
the
almost
numbers
wanna
were
say
read
it's
wrong
like
and written down.
67 Anthony Street or something like that.
Okay, we'll try to find it tomorrow. If I can, I'll call you
I
and
appreciate
say I
it.
need an
Yeah,
address.
something's just not right.
If we can find that numbers were reversed or something, then we can work with the water. If we can't, then we forgive the sewer fee for that.
Well, like I say, I don't think it was a leak, because if it was a leak, somebody it would've still been leaking when we went and tested it, and it would've been extravagant, right? It would've kept on the same degree. And if it was just a hose on the docks running, people would see that and shut it off, so I'm looking at, there should be another possibility here that I'm hoping we can find.
Okay, we can check.
We'll check.
Craig, what kind of leak did you have? You said you found a leak.
Yeah, it was right in the ground just before it went out to boathouse 3.
Was it a
It's
break?
half
Was it?
PVC and it was just spraying out the side.
Oh,
of the
okay,
dump.
so it wasn't,
Wasn't a wide open,
Right.
2-inch main
Right.
just dumping, it
Well, the
was.
water was coming from on the ground, there was a puddle on the
Yeah.
grass, so that's how we
Yeah.
found it.
right, yeah,
That's nice that they tested before we fixed it, because we thought that was the whole thing, right?
right,
But
yeah,
then they only used 31,000 gallons in a month, so something didn't add up.
yeah.
And did you have another property that was double billed? Or you double paid?
Yes, I paid a water bill for a person that rents, and she came in, I think later and paid it, but I didn't want her to have the water shut off. I was looking to get reimbursed.
Do you want it reimbursed or applied to a different account?
You can apply a different amount.
Okay. And I'll make a motion that we do that, that's not a problem, we'll give them a credit on another account, and we
Yeah.
can talk tomorrow about which account.
So it's fine.
So I'll make that motion.
A second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yep. So we'll refund you on that, Greg, and we'll check into the other one for you,
Thank you.
all right? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got a bunch of stuff, we guess we need a motion, we got a shredder coming in, there's all kinds of old inventory here. Good.
In the, back room that we currently use as a lunchroom, there's a closet, coat closet in there, that one of them is full of boxes of stuff that is old enough to be shredded, and we have to just make a motion to do it in our efforts to clean up.
Clean up. I mean, we only have to keep that stuff for so long, right?
And every box is marked with when it's from and destroyed this year, so they do, you know, I went in the one closet the other day and said, why do we need all these payroll records back to 19? And the lecture I got was, you have to keep payroll records if you're a municipality for 55 years, blah, blah, blah. So what's in the closet, in the lunchroom is what gets shredded,
55 years,
55 years.
we need a motion to approve shredding all that stuff.
Who made the motion? I'll make the motion to approve shredding.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mary, you wanna do your thing for your chamber?
We submitted a packet,
Right, got it.
yep, we're
So,
looking for approval for the date for our visitors guide. In the process of putting it together and for the events for 2025.
everybody see this?
Can we read it, or do you wanna go through the weekend? Okay. Put this
It's
back in.
basically everything you've had in the past, correct?
Sorry.
Did you see it, Doug?
No, I didn't, I haven't seen that, no. I probably got it, no, I don't have a copy of it.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen anything.
It's been here for quite a while.
I think it was in everybody's box when we all took it home.
It's basically every weekend
Yeah,
you've
I
had,
did, oh, it's,
The
it's,
same as
I did
it's
see
always
it.
been, yeah.
it's the same as it's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah. Thought it was something different.
And I don't know who's gonna bring it up, but it is in here for one pirate weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, August.
Our proposal in there is for one pirate weekend,
One weekend.
but are you doing something?
Well, I'm here to, report on pirates, and, was that printed before? or-
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we submitted this a while ago.
Okay, because, we had a chamber meeting last night, and we'd like to propose for 2 weekends with pirates. And we feel that it is the financial strength of the weekend that gives merchants in town, the reason to, put on 2 weekends. Now, with 2 weekends, of course, there's a lot more work to it. We've talked about some different things with managing, the weekend, performing better with the activities and volunteers and so forth. So my committee of 7 people have reviewed a lot of that, a lot of the, essential things that make it successful. And we've come up with, more volunteers. But the thing is, I think that the community was looking for, and you can correct me, to be a little bit more active with children's activities and things of that nature, which we have. We're talking about putting the old Buskers weekend into Pirates, making it part of Pirates, and the Buskers will, be dressed as pirates. So there's some things that, we're still formulating, so I just wanted to mention that, the biggest thing is the 2 weekends, is the request. We're gonna take what we get, but, it was the thoughts of a lot of the merchants in town that, you know, the strength of the 2 weekends is vital for pirates. I know a lot of people had mentioned before, each summer's a little different. Weather can be a factor with good and bad summers. Of course, the economy is driven from, you know, government things and so on and so forth. But it's always kind of been, you know, geez, you know, if it wasn't for pirates, and this was even before bikers, Mary's got a great show with bikers, and buskers, that, you know, they probably would fold up, you know. Things haven't changed a lot. COVID did change things to the point where it was getting tough, and we have to bounce back. But the interest, of the chamber is to move forward with 2 weekends.
Thoughts, anybody?
But the chamber put in for 1 weekend.
We did not vote to change it to 2 weekends as a chamber directors meeting last night. The committee would like to request it to be 2 weekends.
You have a pirate ship for both weekends?
We are going to get a, pirate boat, okay? And the pirate ship, changes every year. And in essence, you're talking 3 clipper ships that are in the St. Lawrence Valley. The availability of other ships is way up in the lakes or past Montreal, and the balance of them are what's coming through, going to wherever it's going up the lake or out to the Atlantic. So that's the 3 boats that are in through Kingston. Currently, right now, they're all booked up and not available, okay? So this is gonna be an ongoing thing, and has been over our shoulder, for those that you can remember, in the past where we've had problems getting a pirate ship, okay? So we have one, gentleman who's offered us that he will buy a boat, okay? And then when I say a boat, you know, we're talking, getting something that's usable, that's practical, that is in the 30-foot range, you know, not going past 40 feet, you know, something that we can store in the wintertime, something that we can have dockage for in the summertime. And there are several boats to pick from, you know, so it's purchasing, and then it's the practicability of making it work and managing it, okay? So
Wait, who's buying it?
well, he didn't tell me that it was okay to say, so,
Okay, so somebody else is buying it, storing it, keeping it, maintaining it.
someone else is buying it.
Rick,
I would
I'm
still
gonna
have
get to the point real quick here. From what I can see, it's a lot of ifs and maybes on the second weekend. Unless you bring us something concrete, I'm a no.
Okay,
I'll tell you that right now.
yeah,
There's too many variables. I think 1 weekend of Pirates Weekend is enough. Unless you have something concrete, we got this, and this, I'm a no.
yeah.
That's my
I'm not
opinion.
sure which weekend, Mary, is the Wrangler River Rally? Do you know those dates?
No.
I'd have to go get them.
And I'm not co-chairing that.
I know, but I just,
I was
you're not. I can go to the book.
I think it's the first weekend of August, I believe.
We should double check that, because
I'll be right back.
I
believe
thought,
that's
I
what
thought
it
it was the following weekend, which would have
After
been
Pirates
the
Weekend.
weekend that Rick wanted, in which case, we've already committed to the Jeep Wrangler weekend, and they want the pavilion and all of that, so that would be
Yeah, they do.
unavailable. Mhm.
You're correct.
Okay, I didn't know that, I probably wouldn't have presented it tonight.
Well,
Easy enough.
it wasn't really a chamber event. It was something new that came up.
It's not, it's a community event.
Right. So,
But the difference is, you know, it's the date's taken, I mean,
Right.
the period.
but Rick, if you wanna come back next year
Yeah,
and have something definite,
yeah,
you know, that's a different thing, but we
And
can't
again-
give you a weekend on, well, we're trying to this and we're doing this. We need answers.
Yeah.
Yes, we have this. Yes, we have that, okay?
yeah. But do you understand how the availability of a ship is what it is? I mean, our back is against the wall, you
I
know?
understand that.
And,
But now you got a year to find one.
Pardon?
Now you got a year to find one for the second weekend.
The Wrangler
And-
River Rally
And-
is the 2nd and 3rd of August.
Yeah, I thought it was the
Okay,
first
so
weekend.
it's the first weekend.
Yes.
So the weekend after them, what's down there?
That's just Rotary River of Gold. No.
Okay, so that's nothing with the thing out there.
While you got the book out there, the group wanted to do the pavilion the 26th October for a Halloween thing. It's through the town.
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't bring this year's book.
Okay, well,
I
I'm
can go
just
get it.
saying that, I don't think there's anything going on.
I don't
It's from
think
like 11 to 1,
Okay,
Emily Chase.
okay.
I told her I would bring it up, and then I don't think it's an issue,
What
because I
is
don't,
it, October?
26,
That's a pavilion.
yeah,
Maybe he went for it.
Halloween party for
Oh.
kids.
Oh, yep.
I think Jared just went for it.
So as of right now, like I said, I wasn't sure which weekend that Wrangler Rally was. They're the first weekend, Pirates would be the second. The other weekend is available as of right now, if you got things concrete.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's just- it's the way that it will always be, like we already had asked well ahead of time, right now, for next year, and we're still not getting a ship, okay? And that's where we feel like, you know, when this happens, which will happen in the future, that, you know, the purchasing of a boat, so we can have an invasion, so that's the centerpiece of the event, you know, Pirates will move and go forward. Personally, myself, if I didn't have a retail business in town, I got other things I probably wouldn't be volunteering and making stuff all happen. This is for the community, and it is for the merchants in
Why don't you
town.
bring back the Roaring Twenties weekend, for a weekend?
Sounds great.
I mean, you know, anyway,
Yeah.
you bring something concrete that's definite, and we'll rethink it, but right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a no, I don't know what the rest of the board wants to
I'm
do.
a no.
So let me
For
ask,
the second weekend.
when does the village want that answer, what month out of the year? Like right now, the month of October, or, so that we know that when the curtain falls to have.
Well, I guess you just gotta get your stuff together and bring it back to us when you get your stuff together, then.
Sooner the better.
Okay, so
Sooner the
if
better.
we get something that comes through in November, it's too late.
Well, the whole thing, I
I'm
think.
just asking.
Well, I understand that, and I think you have to compare next year to this year, and next year's whole Thursday to Sunday has to be done much better than this year was.
Okay, with no problem making that happen. I feel confident that that's no problem.
Okay, so then maybe in 26, you can have, the board will say 2 weekends. I don't know.
Okay, so, I mean, that'd be great, and I appreciate that, I'm sure that the community does. But when do I know that, you know, I have to have that drop dead date? When I have to come to the village and say, hey, here it is.
I don't think there is a drop dead date.
Yeah.
Like last meeting,
What
people
month,
already,
whatever.
the last meeting, people were already here and filled in a lot of dates. I think there was 3 or 4 different presentations last meeting.
Right.
So we've always kind of done it first come, first served. We know that Pirates Weekend's usually this, we have historical things that, you know, Mary, motorcycle rally and that stuff is there. Pirates Weekend this year didn't have real favorable reviews. And a lot of people, what we're hearing is they're kind of over it. They don't necessarily like the crowd that it's bringing. It's become more of a drunk fest. So, you know, we'd really kind of like to see something new. That's why last meeting when we had the Jeep Wranglers, it's like, okay, it's something new and fresh, we'll give it a try. To try to push for 2 weekends when you don't even have the chamber behind you for 2 weekends, because they've only asked for 1, it's hard to endorse that and to say, sure, keep going, because last year we started out for 2 weekends and then it ended up 1, and then there was problems. I think you're much better off going for 1 4-day event and doing a really strong, powerful 4-day event without as much drunkenness and bad reviews.
I was at the chamber meeting last night. There wasn't a lot of businesses there, but were against 2 weekends. So wherever you got that from, they weren't behind it. I was at the meeting last night. Cindy, you were at the meeting last night. Did you vote against it?
We didn't
Going 2
vote,
weekends, I know you,
we didn't vote.
but did you say 2 weekends were better for your business?
Absolutely, yeah.
And Rick did, and I did, Kathy Garlock did. There's only a couple businesses there, and they weren't even businesses, who didn't like it. Tammy Quinn was there, and she said she liked 2 weekends. So I think you get a lot of noise that isn't what, is that what I'm thinking, Rick?
Yeah.
That people aren't against it.
Okay,
And
I
when I owned a
just
business in
assumed
town-
that they weren't for it because it wasn't on their list for 2 weekends.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so
And-
my
and
misunderstanding.
you said you had a lot of complaints?
Yes.
You got them in writing? Can you see them? Can you
No, I
talk
don't
to 'em?
have them in writing. I had people that either called me or actually came to my door.
Okay, and I
I
got
don't
just as
have-
many of people that liked it.
Okay, well, that's great, but
And these businesses pay taxes and employ people, and yeah, I think you
well,
guys are.
then maybe this year in 2025, Pirate Weekend can be run a whole lot better and.
I don't think it was ran very bad.
Okay.
You think it was ran bad, Mary?
I'm
You're not-
staying neutral on this.
Okay, I don't know why.
I had a
You're
medical, I wasn't down there, I had a medical procedure done, I wasn't even down there during Pirates Weekend this year.
Well, I think these are good jobs.
Well, we can all remember pirates from the good old days.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you mentioned, you know, the drunk fest thing, I totally understand. And I also think that, you know, there's a lot of things in the village, you know, that could be changed to get rid of that type of innuendo that we hear, okay? So I'm all over that, and when I hear you say that, it's like, geez, you know, I wish I would have known that before I came tonight, because there would be some things that I could bring back, you know, that would be more things that are oriented towards non-drinking things. I think that, and we've already established that we wanna make a time when this is family time before 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then afterwards is more adult style things. And then with all of it, there's no drink fest type of stuff, you know? So we're changing an old image, and it's gonna be hard, but we're up for it, you know, for sure.
I remember it seeming like two completely separate events for a long time. I understand why people think it is the way it is now, because it is. But it, you know, it wasn't for a long time. I mean, the out in front of the hospital there, I recall being one of hundreds of children at the invasion. So I could see where
Yeah.
the nostalgia is there and where people had a good time.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Because it is all about the kids, you know, it's kind of the hubcap of, you know, making it work would be all about the children. And the invasion, I thought, was very well attended. What's the lady's name that was doing the raffles down there for the firemen's raffle thing for the four-wheeler?
Penny.
Yeah, she had mentioned, and stopped me several times, she was like, oh my God, I had never seen this many people in town, and yada, yada, yada. She was kind of thrilled with the numbers. You know, that we, of course, you know, you're gonna hear from me, you know, there were a lot of compliments that, you know, came our way. And of course, I might not get those people that are displeased and don't wanna say anything to me. But that's, we're always gonna have that. But I just, you know, it's important to know that, you know, we have a new committee, of good people, and they're all about, you know, making the children, you know, happy. We're into like 4 or 5 generations now of people that have come to the Bay and remember when they were that high, you know, Pirates Weekend. But I'm all over, you know, making it, you know, a positive image versus what it used to be. You know, the financial thing, I mean, it is what it is, and, I just hope that the board, you know, when they vote the way that you do, is thinking about, you know, what it means to the merchants. Equally, yes, we wanna dress it up and make it work, and, you know, we wanna clean it up, so.
Thoughts? bring us something concrete for the second weekend, and we'll think it over. We'll give you that.
Okay.
'Cause
That'd be great.
in my opinion, just like
And then,
Sandy said, you
yeah.
do 4 or 5 really good days,
Yeah,
that should be enough, and do another weekend of something else.
yeah. The key thing is invasion. So, and I know that you mentioned it before, you kinda wanna do 2 weekends that are equal. You know, you don't wanna have one that's better than the other, so that people don't say, well, I'm not coming to that second weekend, it wasn't as good that first weekend, if I had known this and that, and I get all that, okay? So the hubcap and the centerpiece is the invasion, and that's where all of our energy goes. And the boat is a big thing. So I will give you a lot more detail on if we don't have a ship, okay? And I'll reach out for definite answers to the people that we've had asked that are the ship people. And if they can't answer, we'll just figure that's a no. You know, we don't have it right now, we could say yes later, but we'll move forward, and I'll give a proposal.
That's
That will
fine.
be what we're talking about. I'll talk to the guy who said, I'm gonna buy the boat, and I'll make it happen, and blah, blah, blah. And the activities and so forth will show you that we're thinking about the children and the time between adult time and children time. You know. So if you feel better, you know, that things are, you know, that we're working on everything you're talking about. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 event calendar from the Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. And we'll leave the other weekend open until we find out what's gonna happen,
And
and
Rick will be
if
back with the details.
they come back with some stuff, then we'll discuss it fairly with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Rick.
Okay, and October 26th, you said of this year is available for the pavilion.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll let her know.
So what is going on?
It's a Halloween, she said that it's sponsored through the town, so for the kids 11 to 1.
I thought that was always done by the chamber.
She said, she had the town written on it, so.
Brett said something about it today, and I didn't know what he was talking about.
What,
Okay.
what date was that, Mike?
26th,
26.
Up at the
October.
pavilion?
yeah.
It's like a trunk or treat at the pavilion,
So I'll
'cause I know
kinda keep
that.
the water on till then.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would.
you probably should, there'd be a lot of, yeah, I wouldn't hurt.
And if it's a windy day, if those breakers were closed.
And we got, what, cleanup week coming this coming week, or coming the 11th?
Well, that's the suggested week, Jared and I spoke
That's
the
right
other
now,
day.
isn't it?
No,
Oh, November.
November.
Yeah.
I'm a month off.
Month
We-
ahead of
we-
yourself here.
Well, I think we were a little behind.
We're a little
I didn't
behind.
pay attention to the calendar in the office, and we're a little behind letting people know, so
So.
we can't have it next week.
No, no, it's
So
the-
when are we gonna do it?
The 4th.
November
through the
4th to the,
You gonna advertise that, what you wanna do?
yeah, November
Yeah.
4th to the 8th.
We don't need a motion for that, do we?
No,
Okay.
no, just announce it, make sure there's something. in the
We're gonna make sure that.
Yeah,
in the
we're gonna
paper,
put it in the
right? Put it in the
paper,
paper.
and it's gonna be on the website, and it'll be out on the sign.
All right. The other thing we got is the pro-housing resolution.
Yes, we need to, in order for me to continue to do that, we have to vote on that resolution today. I can read it if you want. You know, it's gonna happen. This would be, we now have all of our resolutions, we know where they are and when they were. This would be village resolution number 7. So resolution number 7 of 2024, the Village of Alexandria Bay, well, we'll have to have a motion and second. Whereas the city, town, village of Alexandria, the Village of Alexandria Bay believes that the lack of housing for New York residents of all ages and income levels negatively impacts the future of New York State's economic growth and community well-being. Whereas the housing crisis has negative effects at regional and local levels, we believe that every community must do their part to contribute to housing growth and benefit from the positive impacts a healthy housing market brings to communities. Whereas we believe that supporting housing production of all kinds in our community will bring multiple benefits, including increasing housing access and choices for current and future residents, providing integrated, accessible housing options that meet the needs of people with sensory and mobility disabilities, bringing economic opportunities and vitality to our communities, and allowing workers at all levels to improve their quality of life through living closer to their employment opportunities. Whereas we believe that evidence showing that infill development that reduces sprawl and supports walkable communities has significant environmental and public health benefits. And whereas we believe that affirmatively furthering fair housing and reducing segregation is not only required by law, but is essential for keeping our communities strong and vibrant. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the Village of Alexandria Bay, in order to take positive steps to alleviate the housing crisis, adopts the Pro-Housing Communities Pledge, which will have us endeavor to take the following important steps. Number one, streamlining permitting for multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessible housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing. Number two, adopting policies that affirmatively further fair housing. Number three, incorporating regional housing needs into planning decisions. Number four, increasing development capacity for residential uses. Number five, enacting policies that encourage a broad range of housing development, including multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessible dwelling units, and supportive housing. So we have to have a roll call vote on that. We've already put in our letter of intent to do this. This is part two. There is an email that we got that we have to sit with Lee and answer some questions about, how many permits for different things we've had or didn't have for the last 5 years. The other reason to do this is that to apply for any kind of grant or anything that has anything to do with housing, Main Street, if you wanted to do, if we hadn't already gotten New York Forward, you have to have this to apply for New York Forward, DRI. There's already 300 towns and villages in New York State that have already become pro-housing communities. So I'd like to recommend that we do it.
Is that your motion?
I'll make the motion that we.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
No, roll call vote.
I have to do a
Oh,
roll.
it's a roll call vote?
Yes, Mayor Putnam,
Yes.
Sandra Caputo,
Yes.
Judith Fulmer, yes, Doug Stroud,
Yes.
Gregory Millet, okay,
That would be a big plus.
yes, that will definitely,
I guess the last item we got is the Chris Kringelmar, is that just to approve that they wanna use this building or
Yes.
something?
yes. December 7th, and the building, I believe, is empty. They did check that. Erica did earlier. So we just need to approve it. I'll make a motion to have Chris Kringle here December 7th.
I second it.
All in favor?
Discussion, Chris Kringle usually uses the,
Kitchen?
kitchen. They need to coordinate that through the new district,
Okay.
because that belongs to them,
Mhm.
and we're not gonna play middleman.
Right,
That's a
okay,
good
that's a
idea.
good idea, yep.
Yep.
Other than that, all in favor?
They're from all over, correct?
Mhm.
District?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
They go
district
from the
is
wall
gonna go
over.
from the wall over. So if they wanna use the
Yeah,
kitchen,
anything
of course,
from
they
there.
need to, that way they're maintaining their kitchen, they're keeping it clean. We don't want to say somebody else can go in and use it, and then
Right.
they yell at us because it's not clean. Nope, let them coordinate
Right.
and do that themselves.
So we
I'll
got the
ask
motion
Court
in.
who to find out to talk to.
Okay.
They need to
So
talk
we're
to
good,
them.
we just need a vote?
Yep.
We got a motion already for it, to
Yeah,
approve it?
all in
Any
favor?
second, all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved.
Okay.
All right, any more public concerns before we close? I guess that's it for today.
Do we need executive session today?
I don't, is there anything you want to executive? I don't think so.
Okay, unless there's any other public comment, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, there we go. Thank you for coming, everybody. You're leaving tomorrow? Friday for a week? Okay.
You want this, Sandy?